All right, welcome back. We are Game 2007. That's social and multiplayer game design in the winter 2026 semester at Georgian, and it's week 5, part 1 of our broadcast and recording. And this one, what we're doing is we're talking about a bit of actor relevancy and authority today, more RPC calls, and we're going to add finally more interactable items in the form of potions. And we're going to talk about some challenges with it when it comes to this. And hopefully this will be interesting and again more on the coding side than we were doing yesterday. So one thing is just a reminder that assignment 2 is due next week on Friday. So that's the same thing with the other assignment 2s and 1B. So that's the date that's currently due. And I want to just talk about remote procedure calls one more time. So whenever we think about remote procedure calls, there's 3 ways we can do them. We use a custom event, to put them together, and there's server, client, and multicast is what those 3 things are. And so when we do server, it's executed only on the server version of that object. That's what it is. Client, it's on the server, but the object is executed only on the client. That's important to know that as well. And then multicast is executed on both the server and the client. Now, there are reasons for doing all these 3 things, and I want you to keep that in mind when we're building what we're building today. Okay, so, and you might say, like, why are we doing an RPC call? As an example on the client. Well, if there's something only the client should see, as an example, and the server doesn't need authority, as an example, then you're good. It's called from the server to the client. It's basically the server basically saying to the client, yeah, execute, go ahead. But only on the client side, not on the server side. Multicast we use a lot because in our scenario we're using a listen server, and the listen server is kind of a client and server, so that's why we use this. But in different scenarios, like if we ever were to do like a LAN, kind of a dedicated server, it'd be different. Okay. Next, I want to start demonstrating stuff by adding a new health bar, right? And you guys had some requirements to do a health bar, but I wanted to show you a way of doing it. And I want to use a world space health bar. So if you've done this, and I know some of you have, you've submitted your stuff, so yes. But I'm going to do it my way, and I'm going to show you the kind of some things that I noticed, and also what I'll be testing with your assignment 1 for the health bar. So first thing I want to do is, let's do that. So I'm going to go, I've just copied a project week 4 from last week. This is this one. And what I'm going to do before I proceed is I'm just going to go into this project and do all that funny Git stuff. So I'll do git init, git add dot, and so on. Just so that way you have different copies, and I'm hoping that this stuff this one's like stuff helps you. I'm not sure if you ever look at my code at all or whatever, but it's there just in case you get stuck. And if you wanted to look at my project compared to just looking at yours. For example, I might say, well, this works, and then you try it and it doesn't work, and then you can look at mine and say, okay, I see what he's done here. Sometimes it's a bit of a, some troubleshooting that's involved, because you have to go through and you have to kind of look through each of the functions. As an example, if it's on using blueprints, and then check it out. If it's using C++, that's a little easier to look at, because literally you can just kind of look right here, as opposed to opening up the blueprint, checking it out, and see how I put things together, right? So, but they're there for you to use, and they're also going to be there for you to use for the exam. So that's one thing to remember, that you'll have access to my stuff that I've given you on the exam, and your stuff. So if I've asked you to do something, and like we said before, your repos and my repos are fair game, and so this way you have plenty of code examples, and so you don't have to go look anywhere else. I did want to ask you guys a question around the use of AI. So I said it was okay to use for help. Was it helpful for you guys, or did it make you run around in circles? What are your thoughts around AI? Because the first kind of semester we've said it's okay to use as long as you reference it, right? That's what I said to you guys. Logan says never have used it and never will. Ha! Look at that. Yeah. So that's interesting, Logan. I'm just curious, just from an educator perspective, why never will? What's your reasoning behind that?
No, there probably isn't any kind of like golden amazing reason for it. I just
no, it's fine.
So.
You know, it's funny that younger people, you know, and I mean like yourselves, and compared to older people like me, it's amazing how things have turned. Like, you know, we would have, when it first came out, there was like rampant cheating going on, like all kinds of crazy stuff. They're like, you know, just submitting whatever. And now, I think especially with game design, I find that people are you know, not using it, and they're for a number of reasons. Like one of the ones you just said, if I'm dumb, I'm going to be dumb without AI, right? Garbage in, garbage out is the way I think about it as well. But it does make you lazy, 100%. I mean, I keep saying this over and over. I can't tell you how many times I speak to people and they're like, just check ChatGPT, you know?
Yeah, and like I mess up on some stuff sometimes, but I want that to be my own like effort, regardless if it ends up being perfect and not, you know.
Well, otherwise, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? But I think where it's really great is what Gage was talking about, which is for debugging. So if you're going to use it and you're having some issues, and you've done most of the work yourself, and you're like, wow, I just can't understand where this error is coming from, or especially if your Unreal Engine crashes, if you just take that you know, the stuff that it says in the error and pump it into ChatGPT, it will tell you what the problem is. Especially when you're using C++ and blueprints combined, there's a lot of feedback that it'll give you, and it won't steer you wrong most of the time. It's where you like try and create new stuff. If you ask it, you know, I want to do this, and especially with Unreal Engine, because it doesn't know what you're asking, it's specifically for, as an example, the version. If you say like, okay, well, I want to do this material thing in Unreal Engine, and it'll give you, you know, some cockamamie response, and it might be for 4.27, you know, and it's wrong. And then if you tell it, well, it's not just 4.27, it's for 5.54, like this version. It'll give you some stuff, and it won't work again, because it just doesn't, you know, especially with visual stuff, I find that it's not the best with troubleshooting, and we'll see that today. Okay, so, but yeah, I gave everyone the ability to do it, and I said, as long as you, you know, you quote it and you state where you came from, you cite the sources, what your prompt was, all that kind of stuff, I'm okay with it. No, sorry, my dog is eating my chair, and I don't want that to happen. You know, but no. Find YouTube a lot better because explain show something works in me. Yeah, I mean, I think YouTube videos can do a lot, especially if you, I think a walkthrough of any kind is pretty cool when it comes to a concept. I think it's good. And we're going to see some of that today. Okay, so let's make a brand new widget called WBP Health Bar. Let's do that next. So I'm going to kind of put that together. We're going to go into widget blueprint, and we're going to use a user widget. It's going to be this. When we make a health bar widget, like anything that we're going to float over our character's head, we have to be cognizant of centering. Okay, that's important to do. So, so again, I'm going to put in a canvas element, and here we go. And then from there, I'm just going to drop in a progress bar. We've done this before. This is not new. Okay, the difference here is that it's multiplayer. And when it's multiplayer, you know, it gets interesting when, you know, certain things are supposed to work in a certain way, and of course they don't work. So that's the first thing. Anchors are center for this one. So again, I would change the anchor to center. 0.5 and 0.5 is the alignment to center. That's important. Then, of course, you want to reset these things and make the health bar 200 by 20 is what I kind of said. So 200 by 20 centimeters. So this is 20 centimeters, and that's why it's you have to be careful what the size is here, because it's going to be kind of analogous to what it would be, in world space. So that's the first thing. Next, what I want to do is change the tint for the background and the foreground. So let's do that. So background, if I go to style, background image, I'm just going to make the tint for the background red. Again, this is nothing new. Okay, so one thing I like a lot, I do like rounded boxes better for a health bar as opposed to square boxes. That's me. Maybe you like it the other way around. But for this example, I think it might be better. So the fill image is the foreground, and then I'm going to make that green. There we go. So make it green, and I'll make it real green. I turn all that up. You can make a different shade if you want. And again, this has to also be rounded box. And then once I have those things, then what I want is, for the progress to be 0.5, so I can test what it looks like here. So if I click away, you can see what it's going to look like. This is the preview of what the health bar would look like. Okay, so health bar is a variable. That's what we've done, and that's the first part of what we're doing. Next, what I want to do is I want to add in a little, custom event called update health bar. I'm going to go back to the graph to do that. So get rid of all this, add custom event, and we'll call this update health bar for now. That's how it'll look. And then once we do that, we want to add in a input for new percent. So that's down here, new percent. Whatever the difference is, it's going to be a float. And just a moment, down. Thank you. It's going to be a float, and I'm going to pull in the health bar itself. Here's my health bar, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set percent, because the health bar is a progress bar, it has a set percent method that's built in. So all progress bars, notice it says target is progress bar. So that's what it has in there. And we're just going to pass in the percent directly in here. So very simple kind of function that we can use. And this way we don't have to do this piece, health bar set percent. We can just call the custom event. Now there's a reason why I made it a custom event, and we'll get back to that later on. Remember that we are using, so check out my dog and make sure he's not eating my chair. 1 second, guys. You are not good. There. That's what happens when you have a puppy. Puppies decide to do. Sorry about that. Wow, this is even recorded. Puppies decide to do whatever they want to do, and you can punish them, but that's not the way. You want to redirect them as much as possible. Okay, so back to this. So now that we have this in the event graph, compile and save, the next part is I want to add this to my character. So back to this, I'm going to go back to blueprints and my MP character, this guy. And what I want to do is on the mesh actor, or the mesh component itself, I want to add in a widget. So clicked on the mesh, added a widget component. There it is. We'll call that health bar, so that it matches with what we had before. Okay, compile and save. Next, once we have that, then we can decide on the right-hand side here what type of widget it's going to be, world space or screen space. Positive about screen space is it billboards for you automatically. Negative about screen space is that it you can see it anywhere. So it's like literally layered on top, like at eye level, right? And so if you don't want to see a health bar through a wall, screen space is a bad thing. Okay, I don't want to see my health bars through walls, so I'm going to use world space. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Widget class is what we just made, which is WVP health bar. That's what that is. And then I want to also put draw at desired size. I want to click on that. That's what I want to use. There's other options here as well, right, that we can kind of look at as well. But this widget, for the most part, is how we want to use it. All right, so compile and save, and then what I want to look at is the viewport. So let's take a look at the viewport and see where it is. This is not a great location for the health bar, so let's put that kind of up above her head, something like this. And this is kind of what I want to look at right now, something like this. This is where the health bar is going to be. Problem with a world space health bar, it always faces, where the character is facing, especially since the mesh component is going to face in the forward vector direction. That's what it's going to do. Again, what we said before with this is when I look at replication, you can see that the component right now doesn't replicate. And what we want to do is make sure that the mesh component replicates. Let's do that. As well as the health component. The health bar also replicates. If we don't do that, bad things will happen to good people and then we won't see stuff. So let's make sure that that is replicated. All right, compile and save. So that's the first thing. So now let's just test it the way it is. If I was to just run this, it's not going to work, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. It works here, and I can see if I hover over that it's black. And the reason why it's black is not because we made a mistake, it's because of our lighting model. So our lighting model, unfortunately, what it does is it uses post-processing to do different things. So we're going to modify the lighting, but I'm going to get back to that in a second. So we just did all this. And visible in real-time sky captures. Definitely we don't want that on. We want to uncheck that. Let's go back to that for a second. So that's here. So if I go sky captures. So what this does is, if true, this component will be visible in real-time skylight reflection captures. Why we don't want a health bar to do that. So make sure you uncheck that. That's also going to improve performance. If I had a lot of health bars and they were responding, again, it's just another thing that we're checking every frame. So we don't want that to happen. Compile and save. Next, we changed the location to 120. I think I did that already, just to make sure that it's there. Oh, I made mine 200. Why 120? That's too low. What did I do different? Let me go back to my little health bar here and see what I did. It's 0, 0, 200, 20. Yeah. Maybe the mesh is changed. Yeah, it's minus 90. That's why I had to move it to 200. So it's going to be, so it's relative. Because this is low, I've moved my mesh down, and it's relative to my mesh, then the health bar, because it's in world space, it's got to be at 200. Okay, that's kind of where it's supposed to be. I think it's a better, more comfortable location for it instead of 120. So like I said, unfortunately, Sun Sky, that actor, doesn't do well with everything. So what we need to do to make sure we can see the health bar, if you're doing this, I'm not sure if you guys noticed this or if you had any trouble with this at all, but it's definitely a problem if you're going to do a world space health bar. Did anyone have that problem? Did you guys try world space for your assignment 1 as opposed to screen space? So here's the Sun Sky. If you, hopefully, I'm not sure if you encountered it or not. Here's Sun Sky. I'm going to delete it. And when I do, it's like blackness outside. There's nothing, right? And you can see the sky is this weird color, but it's like really, really low. And of course, what we want to do is add in a sky sphere, and I want to add in, post-process. The post-process volume is going to something we're going to change, but the directional light is also what we need. So let's add that in. So I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to go into lights, and I want to add in a directional light. I'm going to move this directional light into lighting, so it's going to be there. And then I also want to add in a sky sphere. So let's do that next. So again, here, if I go here and I search for sky, then we can see that sky sphere blueprint is what I want to add in. So again, I'm just going to drag that in. Once I do that, it's really dark. It becomes really super dark. That's okay. Again, what I want to do is I want to right click, and I'm going to move to the lighting area. And one thing that we have is the sky sphere. If I go back up here, it acts like a sky, like a dome. And then what we want to do is we want to indicate what the directional light actor is, and we're just going to make it so that directional light is that first actor. So that's something that we're changing. Skylight is also something that we want to add in. So again, I'm going to go back here and type in skylight, right? Not sun and sky, but just skylight, which is something that I want to add in as well. So that gets added in. We'll just kind of reset that. And so we have those kinds of things. Next, what I want to do is, again, I'm not changing the sun brightness, so I'm not changing this. I definitely want to set the directional light to what we just did. And I want to change the directional light's angle to like -46 if it's not there already. Let's do that. So if I click on directional light, and right now it's -46, and that's what it should be. Let's also reset the location of it to 0, 0. We don't want to see that all the time. So it's correct. But the problem that we're seeing, the reason why it's blackness, like complete blackness now, is because of our post-processing volume, post-process volume. And what we want to do is in the exposure section, what's been set is manual exposure. If we just uncheck these, and if we go back and check these, you know, as an example, the light starts to come on. Okay, we actually don't have anything else to do, just this, right? And that would change our lighting model back to using the other thing. Now it's going to be quite bright. If you don't like it as bright as this, there's a bit of bloom, and post-processing does work, right? So if I kind of press play now, and if I was to look at the health bar, you can now see that I can see the health bar in the other actor. Okay, that's the first thing we did. Are you with me? Because we need to do that straight up. If you don't have the lighting change, the health bar will look black the entire time, no matter what we do. All right, let's put this up on DevOps. So git add dots, git commit -m, and we'll say added health bar widget to mp bp underscore mp character. So again, I'm not sure if you guys made a world space health bar or any kind of other way of doing things. Some people did. I know that Aaron, his group, were working on a health bar, and then I think they ended up fixing it. They had a bit of problems, but so that's the first thing. Second thing, now that we have our health bar and we've added it and we fixed up our stuff, what we want to do is billboard it, right? So billboarding doesn't automatically happen. We've also done this before, but let's try it now in a different way. So now I want to make this new function called billboard health bar, and billboard health bar will be in the main character here. So let's add a new function. There we go. We're starting to get pretty hairy with all this funky stuff here. So let's put our billboard health bar inside of a category that we'll call UI. All right. So let's say UI. That's where the billboard health bar will be. On rep skin material and on rep character stats. We'll leave those outside, but perform sphere trace. You know, that one will be interactable functions. So this, sorry, let me go back to this one and change this to UI functions. So UI functions, sorry. And then this one will be interactable functions. This one, perform sphere trace. So this will be interactable functions. There we go. And I want to change this to character stats. Let's make this like stat functions. Anything to do with stats or whatever is that. And then these two are multiplayer. This is all networking stuff that we need to use. All right, so I'm kind of keeping this out here because I want to be able to see those. So here's billboard health bar. What I want to do is I want to get the player controller, get player controller, and the player controller is built in because it's a pawn. We want to get the player camera manager, get player camera manager. There it is. Player camera manager takes a look at the camera, the middle of the camera. We want to get the camera location, get camera location. So this is where the camera's looking, because again we want to basically make so that the health bar faces the player's camera. Okay, that's what's happening. Because the player's camera is part of a replicated object, which is the player, you'll have two cameras, one for the one player, one for the other camera, or for the other player. And then we want to get health bar, get its world location now, because health bar is a world space object. Get world location. There it is. Right, there it is. then you can see that health bar is replicated because we have these little spheres on top of here. And what I want to do is I want to find lookout rotation. There we are. And so we're finding the correct rotation we want to move to from where the health bar is to where the camera is. So we want to face the camera. That's what this is, right? Facing the camera, I want to, there's a couple ways to do this. Here in the in this blueprint, what I did was I broke the rotator. You can do that, or you can split the struct pin. I'm going to split the struct pin. It's kind of the same thing, but it makes it easy for you. It would have made it easier for you when you look at this blueprint to know what I'm doing here. Find lookout rotation, and then we can make a rotator. So that we need to do. So make rotator, and if we make a rotator, then we want to kind of add in that new rotation, and I want to pass in the Y, the pitch, and the yaw, but not the roll. So we don't want the health bar to do one of these. That's weird, right? So just these two things. All right, so we're going to move around, and we want to make it look up, but we don't want it to make it like, twirl around, right? So that's why it's those are the kind of the things we care about. And what I want to do is I want to get the health bars, and I want to set the world rotation for the health bar according to the camera. So again, health bar, set world rotation, and then we're going to do one of these. Okay. So now this is where it becomes confusing for people, because you might say something like this: which camera and what health bar is going to be rotated? Think about it, right? Because you have two health bars. You have one on top of the player, your player, and there's one on top of the other player. So those health bars, are they going to rotate to me, or are they going to rotate towards the other player? How does this work? So just keep this in mind, which is that's the weird stuff that's going on. All right, so compile and save. Once we've done this, we want to use the event tick, and I want to add in billboard health bar behind the perform sphere trace. So again, I'm going to go back to the event graph and the event tick. Just double click on that, and just drag and drop our billboard health bar right on there. There you go. Compile and save and test. Let's test this out and see how this is working, if it is. So look at that. I can see my main player sees both health bars, and they're billboarding towards the player, towards my camera, right? Well, what about the other player? Well, here it is. So notice that I'm turning the camera because my camera is basically anchored through a camera boom to the second player, this guy, the blue-skinned character, right? And when I move, the camera rotates and moves, right? But when I do this, the camera rotates and moves for this player, right? So what's happening is, because my camera is rotating on one side, and because these health bars that I'm looking at, they do exist on both clients, right? Then what happens is, for one client, they see the health bars rotating towards them, but the other client sees the health bars rotating towards them. And we tried this with split screen. Remember, there was we had to make 3 health bars, one that was looking at the player, the other one was looking at that itself, so you could see it in the camera, but not the other one. None of that has to happen. And this is a positive thing about multiplayer in using a listen server. This is all you need to do so far. Okay. So so I don't know if that makes any sense, but that is the first part. So billboarding now works at this step. Okay, this is the good part about it. So now what we want to do is I want to add in max health, right, inside of my struct, my character stats. Remember that the character stats are changing, right? And the character stats that we have are, right now we have walk speed, sprint speed, damage multiplier, next level XP, stealth multiplier, and we're going to add in max health. Now you're going to ask me this question, and I know it's going to come. Why not current health? Anyone? Why not current health? Did you guys add current health or anything like that? If you ever made health bar or kept track of stuff? So Logan says nope. Okay. Anyone else use a health bar for assignment 1? Some people say yes. Okay, so you did it. Did you add current health in the stats? Or did you add current health in terms of each individual player? Like, where did you put your current health properties? Right. Or whatever. Maybe you called it health. So now the thing is, I'm just going to put max health in here. So let's try this max health stuff and see if it works. I'm going to get this max health, and we'll talk about positives and negatives about all this stuff. So let's go to our structures. So I'm going to go back out to content, structures, and then this is our character stats. We're going to add in a new structure here. So add a new variable. We'll call this max health. And then once we have max health, it does have to be a float, and save. Once we've saved it, by the way, from a default value perspective, let's give us some health default. So I want to say that the default health is like 3, something low, and just save something just to give us a value instead of nothing. Okay. I don't need this anymore. Once I've changed the structure, the next thing I need to do is change my data table. So my data table now has 3 across all these things, but this is not right. What we want instead is 10 for level 1, 20, 30, 40, 50, so we can test it. So, so 10, again, not completely realistic, and it's also going to cause us to have some problems as well. Let me explain why. If our health goes up like this, scaled, and I heal myself with a potion, you know, as an example, will the health go down or will it stay high? Because we're going to be using max health and current health, and if my current health, as an example, is 10, you know, and then my 10 out of 10 is 100%, but then I increase my health to 20, my health bar will be 0.5 because I just increased my max health, right? So keep this in mind because we may have to fix it later on. These are fixes we're going to have to think about. All right, so we've done that. We've added stuff to our data table as it says here, and let's do the next thing, which is for now I want to add in some new things, new variables here inside of my character: current health, heal count, health per second, and current health percentage. These things. Let's add them in. So again, in variables, we have a lot of stuff going on. I'm just going to kind of start cleaning things up. Skin material is definitely a component, so I'm just going to put that as part of the components thing. So we can just type in components, right? Because I don't want to care about that. It's not really related to what we're doing, so we're just going to hide that away. Interactable actor is part of interactable properties, so let's put that in, and we'll make it so that this will be interactable properties. There we go. Data table and character stats are part of stats, so let's put that in. So we'll say this is stats. Same thing with this one. And there we go. That's what we have so far. And now, what I want to separate from stats, I want to put in all about health. Now, this is up to you. I just like to organize things. So I'm going to make a new one called current health. Current health. And that's going to be a float type. There we go. And let's put that into a category called health, because we want to track that category, especially when it comes to debugging. I want to make something that I can see very quickly, right? So health. Let's also open up the eye to make it so that we can see it on the character, because we're going to be testing this out. Okay. So that's number one. Second thing is heal counts. So there's going to be, you'll see why, but there's going to be some issues with healing. This will be also part of health, and we'll make this into an integer, and we'll say that this is expose and spawn. Health per second, that's something else we're going to add in. Health per seconds. And we'll do a float here. There we go. Also make that part of the health category. And then current health percentage. So we'll add that in. Current health percentage. And that will definitely be part of the health category. Now, some things to consider. Compile and save. What I want to do is I want to make current health replicated, replication set to replicated, with the replication condition set to owner only. Okay, so current health is only for the owner. Let's see what this does, and I'll kind of type it in. So current health, this one. So replication is replicated for now, and replication condition is owner only, right? So only the owner's health gets replicated. You know, I don't want it replicated over the entire thing. One thing to note is if I was going to look at current health and compare it to stats, character stats, you can see the character stats is rep notify. Different, right? Okay. Character data table not replicated at all, right? We don't have replication here at all for this. All right, next. So now that we've replicated these things, current health, let's also talk about heal count and heal per second. We're going to say replicated, but the replication condition is none. So health count, heal counts, again, it's going to be replicated, no condition. Health per second, replicated, no. And then current health percentage, this is where we're going to make it so that's an on rep notify. And it's also going to be owner only. So again, replication for current health percentage is going to be rep notify and owner only for now. Okay, let's see how this works. And I'm playing around with these values so we can check them out and see what happens between all these things. Compile and save. So we've kind of modified these things and according to what I've asked you to do. Now we're going to notice some issues. And also on rep character current health percentage, that was created because I made this rep notify. What you'll see is if I change this to something else like replicated now, the on rep current health percentage function still stays. Doesn't go away. Right? And they've done this, I think, because imagine if you've coded some stuff and then you said, you know, I want to try it so it's not, you know, not using rep notify as an RPC. We're going to use something else, and then all of a sudden all your work is gone. So they're like, yeah, no, we're not going to change that. Let's leave it. Once that function has been created, the user, the developer has to go and delete it if you don't want that function anymore. So that's pretty good. Now, what I want to do is I want to make a get health percentage function, so a getter. All right, let's do that. So new function, get health percentage, and this function is going to be, again, if you think about what this is going to be, it's not stats. These will be health functions. So again, going up here, we'll make this health functions. There we go. So at least it's separated so we can see these are all the same. Get health percentage, it's going to return percent. So we're going to use character stats, which is here under stats. So here's my character stats, get character stats. And then what we want to do is we want to break the character stats. So we want to break the character stats struct, right? And then what the good thing about breaking is you can decide not to show anything except for max health. So I can kind of do one of these. Uncheck all these or just hide unconnected pins, and then like if I had all these and if I clicked hide unconnected pins, then they'd be all hidden, and then I can just check on health, max health, and then only one pin will show even if I check this thing. So it makes it so it's a much smaller profile when it comes to your blueprint. Next, I want to get my current health, so that is under health, current health. And what I want to do is I want to divide it. So divide this health, current health by max health. That's what that is. And then you get your health percentage. I want to add a return node, this one. And the return node, again, a quick way to do it is take this output node and just drop it onto the return node. It's going to make a output parameter of the same type. We just not need to call this percent because return value is not very descriptive. So percent, although it would work fine. And then do one of these, connect it up. So there is your get health percentage. We probably should mark this function as pure. Let's do that. Maybe making it a pure function means it doesn't have an execution pin, which makes sense for us because this way we compute. What this function does is it computes the current health percentage. It computes it here and then returns it out. Okay, keep that in mind, please. Both are networked. Current health is only replicated, owner only. Character stats is rep notified. Okay, so compile and save. Next, all right, let's now make a new function called update health bar. So update health bar, make a new function, and then we can take that function and put it inside of the health functions category. Compile and save. Update health bar, it's going to get the health bar, right, which is the widget container, but we want to get the user widget from it. Remember, the health bar refers to this component. That's what it is. That's all it is, the component. It's not the actual health bar in the widget blueprint. To get that, we can get user widget object. User widget object is the object that belongs to the health bar. So now this refers to the WBP kind of health bar. However, it's just a generic widget, user widget. We don't want this. We want to cast it to health bar. So cast to WBP health bar. Okay. Now people are always, students especially, are always confused why we cast. Remember about OP, because user widget is the superclass of widget, right? And because health bar kind of uses a widget, health bar is an actual widget component. All widget components have a widget object associated with it. We just need to know our specific details for our object. Now, it'd be nice. This is where it'd be really nice. It would be nice when you set the class here to WBP health bar that you don't have to do this, but unfortunately, you do. Okay. So that's the way it works. So now that we've made this the actual health bar, and now we can update health bar. That is our custom event. There it is, update health bar. And we want to use the percent, the new percent in here. We're going to get the current health percentage, which is down in here, current health percentage, and we're just going to use that to update the health bar. So right now, what it should be for you is there should be some stuff in your head. I'm not saying alarm bells, but there should be something going on in your head saying, wait a minute. This is networked, that's networked. They're different ways. This is, if I click on current health percentage, is rep notify, owner only. This one is, if I look at the health bar, it doesn't show anything. It just shows the actual object here, nothing. And then we're also accessing a user interface. So I'm actually updating a user interface here. Now, if you recall, when we updated our user interface with our overlay, let's go back to our overlay here, just a second. Here's our overlay. We had a bunch of little hoops to jump forward into, like this kind of thing, right? We're not doing any of that this time around. Why? Because I'm showing you other ways. And I'm also showing you the pitfalls of not doing it the right way. So we're going to have a problem. I'm telling you already. I'm ahead of time. It's going to happen. And I'm not trying to do things on purpose to make it bad. I'm just showing you that there's some issues. So here, remember in the previous one, we waited for the event to be initialized, and then what we did was we got the owning player and we changed it to player state, because player state is where our XP and level are. They're kind of in an object that's automatically replicated. That's why we use player state. Player state, we don't have to replicate. It's already replicated for every player. It's automatic, right? And that's why it's a really great place to contain things like XP and level. Well, if that's where it's a really good place to go, why not current health? So let's keep that in mind. But we had to jump through these hoops, right? Where we had to create a dispatcher, which is a delegate. That's what we had to do. We had to create 2 custom events, these ones, right? As an example. And then once these custom events are created, these custom events were the ones that updated our object. So we've kind of got this structure already, right? But none of this. That's the first thing. So none of this is happening. And we'll see why that is and what can we do to make it better. Okay, we have a pattern, but we're doing something different, is all I'm saying. We'll come back to that. So this is what's happening here. So not alarm bells, but definitely something different. We're doing something different. The question should be why, right? All right, next. Now that we've got this, what I want to do is I want to set the current health percentage. So now there's another function. We did a getter. Here's the setter. So let's do that one. So again, I'm just going to go here and add it in. And new function, and we're going to call it that. We're going to put that inside the health functions category. And set current health percentage, we're probably going to need to compute what that function, what the health percentage is. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Didn't we just do the get health percentage? I mean, why are we doing this again? Well, your mind should be like, wait a minute, Tom, we're duplicating, right? Because get health percentage, and I'm doing set current health percentage, but actually it's computing it. It's a computer value. And then we're setting the current health percentage to this. So it's kind of different, but let me explain. So if I go back to the other one, let's go back to get health percentage. Look, it's the exact same, right? So I mean, I've already done this work, right? Doing all this stuff again, and I'm telling you to do it this way. You know, why can we just get health percentage and set it to the current health percentage, you know, as an example? Let's not. Let's just keep going. Copy this, and we'll come back to this and we'll talk about it. Back over here, paste it in. It still works. Copy, paste, copy, pasta. And then here we're going to set the health percentage, this one. So setting it with rep notify, because it's going to set it with notify. There we go. Okay, and that is your current health percentage. You can see that there's little two spheres there, and we're going to call rep notify in a function in a bit. So that's the first thing. Next, health bar. We want to test our health bar, and what I want to do is I want to make a new custom event that's going to be called update health bar multicast. Let's try this. Update health bar multicast. So we'll clean all this stuff up. We'll go back to the event graph. We'll go to the bottom over here and paste. And paste. Add custom event. I'll be okay. Paste. There we go. And that's what I want to do. And then, of course, because we're saying multicast, the convention is that what we want to do is on the right, we want to make sure that it replicates multicast and is reliable. So multicast is reliable. Right, so that means we're going to make sure it's the right thing. And then what we want to do is this multicast event is going to call the set current health percentage. Okay, so let's do that. So set current health percentage. We're going to do that. And that is what it does. Yay. Okay, so instead of calling it directly, we're using a RPC, remote procedure call. This type of RPC kind of talks to both client and server, right? And that's what it does. All right, next, now that we've done this, let's, in the event begin play, we want to set the default values, the initial values of the health bar, as an example, so that we have it. And I need to modify or reorganize our event begin play because it doesn't look like this right now. So let's do that. So compile, save, and then again, I'm just going to skip up to, there's another way of doing it, of course. You could go to here and double click, and it'll take you to event begin play. So kind of a very quick thing. So we have a couple things here, right? And right now, our event begin play does a mapping. That's what this does. And then it does something else. Okay, so we don't want that. I'm just going to make this a little bigger. Instead, I want to drag this out, and I'm going to put in a sequence node here. There we go. Because we're going to do a couple things in our event begin play. There we go. Add this one here. So that's what's going to happen. And then I'm just going to drag this to give myself a little bit more room, up here. There we go. So now that we have this mapping context, that's what's going on right now. That's okay. We're going to leave that the way it is. But I want to do this piece right here in its own kind of sequence node. So that's what's going to happen there. So I'm just going to kind of take this stuff, and then we're going to do that next. So kind of put that in there. And there's this sequence node. And then what I put in here is update character stats and add overlay to viewport. So update character stats and add overlay to viewport, which is what it did. Okay, so this is going to be over here. I'm going to add in a reroute node, and this part is just what we already had. We're not changing anything compared to the new stuff. Put that over there and press OK. Yay. Next, I want to add in another pin, and this is where we're going to have a couple things. I want to initially update the current health percentage and also update the health bar. So the health bar update and the health percentage, two different things, right? So, and remember that this is updating it multicast. So I want to kind of call that, you know, kind of update health percentage, health bar multicast. That's what that is. Update health percentage is what it should be called. Why did I call it health bar? Oh, because I probably left it in there. This should be called update health percentage. Sorry guys, that's my bad. Health percentage multicast. That's what it should be called. The original custom event. Sorry about that. So I want to do the same thing. I want to make it so that this one also does that. Update health percentage multicast. There we go. So that's just the percentage. So we're going to update. We're going to add in a little reroute node right there. And then what I want to do next to it is update the health bar. So that would be this. Update health bar. Okay, cool. And so that's what's going to happen. Initially update current health percentage and update health bar. Initially set is what it is, current health percentage. That'll be okay. And update health bar. So that the health bar will be something that we see, like initially with whatever it's going to be, as opposed to it being wrong. Okay. Now remember, we're setting our level to 1, which means if this is done correctly, our current health, right, would be 3. Sorry, our current health, max health is 10, but our current health is 3, right, or something else. Well, current health is 0. Let's see what it is. But because we never really set these values, right now that it's set to 0, we should have a red bar, and we're going to come back to this in a bit, right, and fix them up. All right, so that's what these do. This just kind of updates this. I don't like how this is sitting, so I'm going to move this here so it looks a little bit nicer, like so. That's your new event begin plate. It's offset with everything else. And if you're someone who's a little bit anal like me, I just like to put things in order. So kind of like this. So it's all in line. Compile and save. All right, so now that we've done this, let's finally fix up our on-rep current health percentage function and see how it works. So on-rep current health percentage, when it is called, so when the current health percentage is changed, then what do I want to do? I want to also update the health bar whenever it changes. So that's kind of a good thing to do, update health bar whenever health changes. So I don't have to do anything else. That's what happens there. Okay, compile and save. And now we have a mechanism where we have health working, but we've set health to 0. Health count is also 0. Health percentage is 0. Current health percentage starts at 0. And even if we go to level 10, at level 1, we have 10 health, and it'll be 0. We should see a red bar. Let's test this functionality out first. So compile and save, and if we press play, then we always try and make it bad. There's red bar, good, before it's good. And this is a good sign, because if it's a red bar, remember our default bar didn't look like this. It looked like this, which means it's working. We've been able to set our bar to red. Let's make sure both players can see it. So here's the first player, we can see it, and so the second player also sees the same thing. Take a look, right? So I see red, everyone sees red. Great. Now what I want to do is back to the current health, we can set it to some value. right? So again, I'm going to go back up to when we put these together. I gave you guys some value. I want to start really low so we can test out healing and all that stuff. So I want to set the default values for current health at 3 and the heal count to 3. You know, that's how many times we heal if we have a different kind of healing potion. For now, it's going to be just 3 and 3. So current health is 3, and then heal count is also 3. So we're going to heal 3 times if we're using some other kind of potion. Health per second, we'll talk about that in a bit. All right, so then now if I run it, we should see 30% of our health back because it's 3 out of 10. And you can see that's about 30%. It should look the same for both sides. So now you can see that the health bar on both sides is about 30%. Take a look. I'm just put them closer so you can see it. Both characters see the same thing. This is important. If one character sees a bigger health bar than the other or a smaller health bar, it's not replicated. So far it seems to be okay. Version 1 health bar done. Let's put this up on DevOps. So File, Save All, and then up to DevOps. Questions before we move on? So we're going to say added health bar, version 1. And you can also say health bar prototype, you know, initial health bar, whatever you want to call it. But all I've done here is I've made it so it works, but we can't test it. We can test some stuff. And here's what I was talking about before. Here's my character, my main character, and what if I level up? So I kind of level, and I get some stuff, and now, you know, he's leveled up, and I'm going to keep leveling up. Does it change my health percentage? Right? So leveling up doesn't seem to do anything to my health. It's the same. And let's take and see what the other player sees when I've done this. So if I go back to here, and I go back over here, then I see that, again, it's about the same. Health bar, same. Well, let's test to see what that is. So if I go to character, if I hunt for character, and then there's a couple stats. So there's 0, character 0, which is the other character. It's hard. Let me just do that again. Sorry, just to make sure that it's separated. So we'll use this one. He's going to go and level up, or she will. Let's go here. Boom, boom. We'll level up all the time. Get a bunch of these things going on. And then now that I leveled up, my max health has changed, right? And now, if I go over to my character 0, character 1, and if I go down into, and I put in, you know, the stats that I have. So these are the stats. Here we go. You can see a couple things, right? Current health is 3, heal count is 3, health per second is 0, and current health per second is 0.3. That's wrong, right? Because I didn't do anything. I increased my max health. Let's take a look at my state. So character state. Character state for, if I scroll down, or I scroll to the, you know, the stuff that I'm replicating. So there's experience, XP, and character level. That's not changed for this one. So it's not that one. Let's go to this one. Up, look. XP is 107, character level is 5. Character level is 5, right? So that should change something, but it didn't, right? My current health, right? My max health, if you will, isn't being seen anywhere, right? I don't know where that is. I'm not kind of, you know, populating it anywhere. It's inside of my character stats, you know, as an example. But character stats, well, that should be, if I go back to character and go back to this character, character 1, and if I type in character, right, here are my character stats. Max health is 50. So character stats actually did work. Max health changed to 50. There we go. But my health bar stayed the same. That's a problem, right? Does that make sense? Because 50, and because my that's my max health, And my current health, because that's under health stats, health stats is 3. 3 out of 50 is not 0.3, right? It's not. It's something else. 0.3 health percentage means 30%. That's not 0.3. That's like, 0.06, like 6%, not 30%. Does that make sense? So what do I need to do to fix this problem? It's not part of the PowerPoint. I want you to help me out. This is why we're doing this, to kind of, test some stuff out. So I want to increase this, and if I want my health to go down, right, if that's what I want, and that may not be the optimal solution, what do I do? Remember what I'm talking about here, guys. That my max health changed. Am I watching max health to change? So if I look here, and you can see that the things that I'm watching are current health percentage changes, right? Character stats, I'm not watching character, I'm rep notifying on character stat changes. So if I go back to on rep character stats, notice it says when, whatever the walk speed is, I update my character movement's walk speed. That's what I'm doing here, right? But it's not just walk speed that's changed, right? It's also max health. So if max health is changed, right, then what we want to do is we want to also compute the health percentage. Let's see if we can do that here. So if I was to say something like set current health percentage, there we go. And if I did this right after every single time that character stats changed, I want to make sure, because that means that when this changes, that means like I've leveled up, right? So I might as well change my health percentage. Let's do that. So compile and save, right? And this is like the first level, right, of changes. So let's try this out now. I'm going to go here. What we should see is when I pick up a bunch of these, boom, 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 my health goes down. And it goes down again when I continue to level up, right? So it's very small compared to what it was before. Okay, does that make sense? Now that it went down, does my other character see the same thing? And this is the thing. So now let's see what the other character sees. If I scroll over there, can I see the same thing? Does it look the same? This is important. It's hard to say because it's so small, but let's make this bigger and this way and here. What does it say? Do you think it looks the same? What do you think? Griffin says looks the same to you. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Take a look at that health bar. I'll put it right next to each other so you can see it. Look at the health bar on the left and look at the health bar on the right. It's close, right? But it's not. The right one is smaller than the left one. So why would that be? This is where we come into problems. We're going to come back to this problem, but this is where the problem starts. Okay, right here, right? Because remember what we're doing. Okay. So the main character, our character, if I go back to this, right, our little guy over here, right? If I update, like this is on the server too. So if I update, we're going to test all these things. Update, 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 update. Then my health bar goes down to there. Now the last one didn't do anything. Notice that, like even where I leveled up. So let's take a look at what I actually have. So back to this. If I look at character 1, and if I look at health, just type in health, then you can see that my max health is 50. My current health percentage is, like I said, 0.06, 6%. Okay, and current health is 3 out of 50. That's like 6 out of 10, 6 out of 100, right? That's why it's 6%. So this is correct. It's actually showing correctly. But what's happening is our character here, this doesn't look like, it's hard to see, but it doesn't look like 6%. This looks like a larger number. than 6%. If you cut it up, you know, it's hard to see what this looks like, but it doesn't look to me like that, right? But if I go back to our other character, it sees everything properly, right? Because if I go back here, then you can see that our health percentage is by far smaller. Look at that. That looks a little bit better, right? Smaller than the other one. It's hard to tell which one's right. Okay. Let's do it the other way around. Let's use our client and let's go and do the same thing. So bum bum bum. And I level up. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then as I continue to level, it also stays where it is. Now let's see what our main character sees. It sees the exact same thing as our client. So both look the exact same. This looks okay. So this is where the problem is. The problem lies that looks like, I mean, it's not really, guys, I'm nitpicking here. Honestly, if you were going to play a game and you saw one guy, you know, kind of do this and the other person the other one, you probably couldn't tell. Like from far away, you'd be playing, you wouldn't know. But I know, right? And there's a difference here. For example, maybe if I was to knock a player down to 0 on one side, there might be a little bit of health left on my end. Really annoying, right? To play like that. That's wrong. So something is definitely wrong. All right, and it's not, we don't know what is wrong right now. Okay. So now we can try a couple of things, modifiers to this whole thing. So because we have some stuff. So current health is replicated owner only. What if we didn't make it replicated owner only? What if you made it so that it's none? Does it make a difference is what I'm saying. So let's compile and save that and play again. Right? Remember, these are all the differences we're testing. So going on here, and I got some health, and it's, you know, leveled up, and I'm here, and it looks like this. Yay, right? And now I go back to this dude, and what happened? Look, my health bar looks smaller. My health bar looks smaller than the other one. That it shouldn't be this way because I haven't changed anything. Now it looks like my health bar is actually less than 50%. Oh, well, what does that mean? So if I go back to this dude in here has 0.3 health. Max health is 10. Current health is 3. I mean, it should be 30%, right? Which is pretty good. So again, doesn't look like 50%, but this looks okay so far. So what does it see? What does it see when I go to the characters? Does it show the right thing, or oh man, look at that! It's like actually smaller than the other character sees. It's not the same at all, right? Not the same at all, right? You can clearly see that. So that didn't help. That didn't do anything actually. 0, right? Okay, okay. This is the main thing, guys. I'm telling you, this is like the main stuff we have to figure out. But very simple, like no health potions yet. Just this piece, right? That we're going to try and figure out. And again, I'd invite you to play with some options to see if there's any difference between all these things. Because I've made it a very complex situation. By the way, you're going to get there, right? Because you're going to do it yourself when it comes to this kind of stuff. So health bar, we're going to just kill that. We're just going to work with this right now, okay? Current health percentage is owner only, rep notify. Let's turn it off. Let's make it so it's only rep notify. So none. Let's see what happens. Compile and save. And press play. So again, this guy runs. La la la. He's picking up some health and picks up a lot of health, and he's there, right? No difference. Nice, nice. And now this guy, he runs over, and it's not the same. It's clearly not the same. I'm going to make this a little bigger so you can see it. It's clearly not the same as this one. This one's smaller, and this one's bigger, right? So again, no difference, no effect. All right, what about if it's the other way around? We should always test both players, both all cases, if you will. And I'm also going to make a third player. just for this, so we can really mess things up. All right. So here I'm going to go through and da-da-da-da, 1, 2. You can also see the level. So now my level is, so level 3. Here it is. Here's my level 3. So this is level 3, and I got 36 XP. Okay. And if I click on one of these, right, then that's the character, this guy. If I look at health, it's 30 max health, 3 is what I got, and you know, as an example, so 3 over 30 is 0.1, so this is correct. This looks like it's good. Wait, what? How did I get 50 before? I got 50 on one when I leveled up, and the other one was only like, it's smaller. What happened? I don't understand. Let's try this again. So press play, and I'm going to make the main character again, and let's see how I can level up here. So boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's 6. There we go. I've leveled up to this. I'm level 3, and I'm going to go to this guy, and I've got 50 health. What? I don't understand. Level 3 should have 30 health, but this guy has 50 health. How'd that happen? Explain that to me, guys. So max health went to 50, but I'm only level 3, right? Because, well, let's see actually what level I am. Because if character state, if I type in state here, state, and if I go back to player state 1, and if I look at stats, or sorry, let's just look at experience, that's what it's called. I'm level 5, and I've got 93 XP. How'd that go? What happened? Did I break something? Was it always broken? You know? Can anyone help? I'm presenting this to you because, guys, it's going to come up, and not that I want to, you know, make it a conundrum or whatever, but test the project out and see what you think. Okay. Well, did it always exist? Mixing up the clients. Okay, maybe, but I mean, let's try this out one more time. So I want to do this one. Okay, and so right now I'm experience XP 0, level 1. That's what I want to do, and I pick up some XP. So let's count these things. So the golden coins are 5 each, and these silver coins I believe are 3 each, right? So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 plus 6 is 36. That's how much it should be. So that's the total number of XP that I should get. So 5, 10, I leveled up, and now I have 13. So 2 5s and a 3. Okay, I'm gonna get 2 more. 5, 10. Now I've got 23 experience, right? And right, 5, 10. I've got 33 experience and a little bit more, and now it looks like I've got 36, and I'm level 3, right? 36, level 3. That means that I have 30 health. 30 health over 3 is 10%. So maybe it looks okay. 10%, that looks right for 10%. Okay, but, well, hold on. How come when I do this again, let's see if what happens with my main character, this guy, and I do this again, and I go to 5, I added 5, let's do it again. I go add another 5, that's 10, let's do it slowly, right? That's 15, right, I leveled up, right, so I'm level 2 now. Wait, that's 20, but it said I leveled up again. Hold on a second. And that's 25, and it said I leveled up again, right? I keep leveling up. And I leveled up again, and I leveled up again, and I leveled up again. I keep leveling up. So I have 36 correctly shown here, but my stats, if I go back to state for this, shows level 5 and 106. That smells. That's bad. And that has nothing to do with what we did, because maybe this was always here, you know, as an example. So this is problem number 1. So troubleshooting is what I'm doing today with kind of some of this, and we did this last time, and it kind of explains some of the stuff that we might have some troubles with this time. So let me explain how this works. So when we level up from last time, so troubleshooting 101, character stats, unrep character stats is this. All it does is it says when the character stats changes, then all I want to do is I want to get my walk speed and change my walk speed, and that's all I'm doing when character stats updates. Okay. Coins. What do coins do? Let's look at that interactable for a second. So if I go to interactables, pickups, and if I go to the base pickup, all it does is it has this event begin play, which does the rotation, and then the begin on component begin overlap. It uses activate pickup radius. Okay, on begin component overlap doesn't replicate. The coin itself replicates. That's important to note. It replicates, right? The pickup radius, you know, as an example, and the pickup mesh, if I go to replicates, right? The pickup mesh does not replicate, and the pickup radius also does not replicate. Doesn't replicate, okay? But what about this activate pickup radius thing? This. So the coin activates the pickup radius, and what does it do? It says one of these. It says, okay, hey, character, right? I'm going to use the other actor and make sure that it's not self, and if the other actor is not self, that means we're colliding with something else. Hey, other actor, let's cast MP character. Now I'm a character, and I'm going to access the MP character's pickup function. Uh-oh. And I'm going to go back to the pickup function, and what does the pickup function do? The pickup function, right, sets the owner, right, and then once the owner has been set, the owning character gets the player state, converts it to MP player state, and then earned XP is added to, it uses the MP player state's add XP function, and that's what it does. Okay. So what's happening is somehow this is adding XP every time. It's a bunch of times that are happening things. So if I go to add XP, this one actually exists on player state. Now what it does is it calculates, here's add XP. It has a couple things here, XP, right, which is if I look at the variables, here's experience, here's XP, it rep notifies, right, and it's owner only. Okay, that's what happens. There's my add XP, and there's the two events, right, for on rep XP and on rep character level. Okay, cool. So that's what happens. Now it correctly does this, the call XP thing. It adds XP value, sets XP with notify. Okay, so let's go to set XP with notify, which is if I set XP, it calls the on rep XP function, this one. On rep XP function takes the XP and calls on XP changed event on the user interface. That's what this does. On XP changed. Okay, so that doesn't do it. That's not the issue, right? Again, troubleshooting 101. This is where we're getting the issues. We're being told that we're adding XP, but somehow we're also being told that we're leveling every single time. And the reason why we're leveling is character stats, right? Next level XP. If XP that we just got, right, is greater than the next level, right, then we update. We actually character level up, and then character level with notify. So that means character level on rep character level, call on character level up. So this actually calls it correctly user interface, because what it's showing on the user interface, my friends, is correct. It's right, actually, right? So this is okay, and this is okay, all right? Those two things are okay. But what about what's going on here, right? So character stats, it says, okay, so again, character stats, we know that it's part of the character. So hey, character, get character stats, and then get the next level XP from character stats, whatever that is. If my current XP, which is up here, current XP, which current XP, if we know what that is here. Current XP is rep notify when XP changes. This is the stuff that's actually being held, in state, in the player state. When it changes, and the only time it changes, it's going to rep notify. That's what it's going to do, right? But it's like every single time I overlap, I'm constantly overlapping, and I'm adding, to XP twice. It's like it's doubling, right, or whatever. Or there's something that's adding twice. Like the first time we pick up, let's go back to this, right, to show you. There we go. So if I go here and I pick up the first one, it says added 5 XP. Yay, that's correct. One message. Then I go back and, oh man, I had a bunch of messages there. So let's just stop there. I added it twice. I went to the first one, I added it, and I went to the second one, added it again. And what did it do? Let's take a look at character game base 0. So it says, sorry, state 1 is where it's going to be. I got 25 XP. And I'm level 2. But I only added like 2 of these. Let's show you this again. This is the troubleshooting part. Let's try it out. Watch. I only want to do it twice. So I start off with 0 XP. Here it is. I got none. And I run over and I pick up 1. Here's the first one. Then I pick up a second one. And now I picked up 3 more. It added, see that message? It came up 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Why? So now I'm at 5, and that's the first time. And then when I look at the state, I'm at 15. Wait, I was at 25 last time. How did it go from like, why is it so random? Because that's, so 15 is level 2. But I picked it up like 3 times, as an example. Okay, well, let me just go and do this again. Let's watch that stat. And I'm going to pick up 5 more XP. So, boom, 5 more XP picked up. Nothing changes. And then, oh, suddenly it went from 15 to 45. And let's go there again, pick it up again. Oh, look at that. And it went to 75. And let me just watch it again. Let's watch it. And wait. 105. 123. And 153, 159, 100. Oh, there's the sweet spot right there. Woohoo! Right? It's just non-stop now. What's going on? How can I get I'm at 1,000 XP right now. Look at that. Anybody? Finally took it. Come on, guys, I need your help. Why would it be doing this? Well, here's something. It says attempted to access index 5 from array, because what it's doing is the data table, our data table only goes up to like level 5, right? So it's gone way beyond level 5 here, and that's why we're getting this weird error. Okay, so it's skipped beyond our character's level to cope, because our data table is not unlimited. Okay, so that's the first problem. But what's happening is, right, let's go back to our coin, which is our base pickup. So let's take a look at this one more time. So activate pickup, right? It's the it runs on the on component begin overlap when it starts to overlap. Okay, and then so we've done this pickup stuff one time, right? But what's happening is it's beginning to overlap, and then we call this function. The function checks to see, this makes this check. It's not us. We're not overlapping with ourselves. Okay, fine. Then the other actor is cast here to MP character, right? So this is the first part. And then it calls the pickup function, which is a whole other function over here. The owning character, which is passed into pickup from this one. Here's characters passed over, right? And then the owning character, that's what this is. We get the player state, we cast every single time, we're always casting, right? And then we get earned XP, and we keep adding to the XP, adding to the XP, adding to the XP. And what's happening is adding to the XP does all this. It updates the thing, it prints it prints this stuff off, right? And then it does all this, right? Gets the pawn and blah, 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 blah. And then in our overlay, let's go back to my overlay here for a second. Here's my overlay. We have this right here, right? This loop, and then on XP changed, when we change one of these two things, it calls, before it goes over here, it loops. It loops, it's waiting for this delay to happen, right? And this waiting part, what it does is it waits, and when it's waiting, even 0.2 seconds, right? If I go back to this, destroy actor doesn't happen. Destroy actor isn't happening. So what if, right? If I go, and this is all troubleshooting, my friends. So this is what I'm talking about, this thing here. So what if it's this? If it's this event that happens. Here we're saying if the player state, whatever, is cast, and then I'm waiting for the player state to be active before I initialize everything, right? Because if I don't initialize it, then I don't create these two things, and la la la. Liam, talk to me. Or maybe it's a mistake. Well, let's undo this chain of stuff. Let's not even check to see all this stuff. All we care about is player state, right? And we're just going to cast. Right here, we're actually doing a pure cast. That's what we're getting here. Let's just cast and see what happens. So we'll do it a different state. We'll say I'll copy these two things. And then we'll say cast to BP underscore player state. There it is. Okay, not this one. We'll disconnect these pieces. Actually, undo. We won't disconnect those pieces. What I'll do is I'll disconnect these pieces here, right? And I'm just going to move this so that way, this is the old code. Here's our new code. That's the beautiful thing about blueprints. You can actually visualize it, right? Here's our new code. And what we want to do is we want to just do this direct, so we don't have any delay at all. And let's see what happens. Let's see if this is our issue or if it has nothing to do with anything. So I press play, and then we're good. We have our health and everything else. And let's take a look at our player state. We have level 0, XP 0, character level 1 for our character. We're going to run around now, and let's see if we can replicate the same problem. So I go close, but not in it, right? Close. Oh, and I pick up, I got 5. Hold on a second. And I go to the next one, and oh, that's 10. But, oh man, my XP stayed the same, but my update didn't. Okay, hold on a second. And then here, okay, 10. Now I'm at 10. I'm one behind. Oh, without that did it right there. Hold on a second. And then, oh yeah, baby, look at that. Oh, I'm just milking it right now. It's crazy. Right? That's not the issue. I'm proving out different pieces of code, so that's definitely not the problem. Okay, let's go back to this. So we can put all this back. So undo, undo, undo. And this is the beautiful thing also about blueprints. You can all put it back like so. And then we're only one more away. Yeah, that's it. So this isn't it. This is actually a good thing because it's making sure that, because it only triggers once, and this is setting us up the first time, this is not the problem. It's not the user interface that's the issue, right? It's something else. No, that's what's happening, Logan. That's an effect of that's the symptom of the problem, right? The problem is not that we don't have enough level. It's just that I can continue leveling. by hovering over. It's not disappearing. Let me show you that again. So again, here's the you try it if you don't believe me. This has nothing to do with health bar. This has to do with me leveling. We just couldn't tell last week because it was hidden. We couldn't tell. It looks correct, like what a readout looks correct, but the actual value that's being stored is incorrect, right? So again, let's show you this. So here, I picked up 5, and I did it. And the way I did it, let's go back to this. It actually showed 10 because I actually stayed there too long. Take a look at that again. Watch. So I'm going slow, and all I'm doing is milking it. Watch. I'm going to these you know, the edge of these things, and I'm not quite passing through. Look, that's 15. There we go. Take a look at that now. All I'm doing is just what do I want to call this? I'm interacting with it, right? But I'm not touching it. I'm not touching the object, right? So let me show you this again. So I'm in there, and then, oh yeah, look at that. I'm just like, it's almost like I'm stroking the object. I'm sorry to say that. And as soon as I stop, it's over. What could be the issue? Look at that. Look, try it again. Look, watch. So I'm doing this. Oh, it didn't quite work there. Let's see if I can do it again. So here, and I want to go just to the edge. Oh, there he is. There it is. Okay, there we go. Take a look at those numbers. Just jump in, my friends. Jump in. Right? 3,000, 10,000. You know, and it doesn't go beyond level 3 anyway. Doesn't update that, but eventually it disappears. Is it the detection isn't being done right and hits multiple times? Yes. No. It breaks on both types of points. Let me show you that again. Right? So let's try this again. You try it yourself, guys. You're using my stuff from last week. If you're using my stuff, it'll do the same thing. So here, I go over here, right to the edge. Take a look. Right to the edge, and as I approach, as long as I'm in there, and all I have to do is just go back and forth. Here, look at that for a second. I go back and forth, and now I've got 6 XP. Hold on a second. Watch that. So happened on silver, and then wait. Oh, didn't quite happen at all. Right. Hold on a second here. I'm going approaching. Oh, I got 11. Oh, now there he goes. There it is. It's happening on gold, and I'm just getting at the right level. I'm getting like all this craziness happening. I'm not even, look, if you notice what's happening here is I'm not even interacting. Watch. Let's try this again. Watch this. I'll go from the side so you can see it. Look at that. Watch. I'm not interacting, right? Watch. Oh, how'd that happen? Look. Well, there it is. Look at that. Oh yeah. Yep. So let's go back to that health bar. So, and I want to talk about this. If we, like, one thing we can't do in Unreal Engine that we can do in Unity is we can't disable. I kind of talked about this at our at Global Game Jam. We're going to take a break now. I wanted to point out this problem. Lie down, please. Down. So one thing that we have is this health bar thing and what it is, right? Now the health bar is a world space health bar. I know, my dog. And look at the physics that's happening. It says simulate physics is off. This is important. And then I go down to here and it says it blocks visibility. Yeah, man. So question for you is, should I block visibility? Should this block visibility? Because remember that the visibility channel is something that's interacting with my, my radius, my radius itself, right, is the thing that's happening. So let's change this to custom. This is the test, okay? And let's ignore visibility. We're not going to block visibility, even though it's user interface. It's a world space health bar, right? We don't want to overlap. In fact, all these overlaps that are happening with all this stuff, we want to ignore everything. We don't want our object to collide. We don't even want to generate overlap events with my health bar. Hell no, we don't want that to happen. In fact, if anything, from a preset perspective, we want to say no collision, like literally no collision. So none of that. But I mean, even no collision, what it does is it blocks world static and pawn and everything else. So that's not good. It's almost like we literally need to say like it doesn't do anything. So let's just put in ignore, like typically ignore like this. So, all right, so that is what we're talking about. Let's see if this is the problem. So compile and save, and then if we run it, and this is a key issue because we just added a world space health bar, and then that would be a real issue if it collided, right? So okay, let's try this. Let's see if we can massage this thing again. I'm going to go back to this. We can see our health, and if I go back to the health bar now you can see that nothing's happening. I got 3, right? And if I go over here, I'm just trying to replicate the issue. You know, I got 5, I got 8 total, right? Hold on a second here. And then I'm going to go to the side. I'm kind of coming at it from the side. I got another 5. And then there's 18. And then I should have, at the end, a maximum, no matter what I do, of 36. Now, don't worry about what it shows here in the update. What's showing here on my character is test 24. It's because the last thing I did hasn't been added, right? And sometimes what happens is it's not something that's adding here. But you can see now that my health bar is what it looks like, is correct. Now it's 36, right? I'm level 3, I'm not level 1, right? Because level 1, that's incorrect, right? And let's go back to my character itself. Let's see the other one, what it sees now. Does it see what I see? Is it the same or is it smaller? So if I go back down here, this is what it sees. And now we're matching. And we're matching because what happened actually was this. The client detected the actual value, right? Whereas my my character didn't detect the actual value. And this is the last thing I want to say. Do we want this to work like this? When I level up, do I want my health to drop? Or do I want the upper part of my health to go up? And do I want my maximum health, my actual health, to go up by that percentage? That's the question, right? Which means if I go from a maximum health from 10 to 20, right, I've doubled my health. I should actually, every time I level up, I should double my current health, whatever my current health, to the max. So that way it's like, because I've doubled my max health, right? If I'm going to go from, well, actually not double, I've added to my max health. I've gone from 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50. So now my current health, which is that percentage should stay the same, and we should save that before we level up, whatever my current percentage is, and then I'm going to modify my current health by my percentage of my max health. Make sense? So that means it shouldn't change, right? And because that doesn't make sense. Like, who would want to play a game where you get experience and your health drops? It looks like your health bar goes lower, right? No, your health bar should be relative, right, to what my health is. So that's another problem, and that is when. So we fixed the problem. The problem we identified was that the health bar itself was interacting with the interact. Before we see that this is where it's supposed to be. Let's try it one more time to prove it out, because maybe I'm not seeing it right. Okay, so here it is. You can see I only got 3. You can see the messages. That's the other question. 3, 5, right? And then I only leveled up once. There we go. And I'm not leveling up multiple times. That's the most important thing. I'm at 36. Value, and now it shows level 1 and 31, but actually it's correct. Like it's because just what I'm looking at here is it's not showing the actual value, but I'm actually, whatever the actual value is, it's showing up on my up here, which is good. So let's go back to this now, and now that we know that this is okay and it looks fine, it looks right. Then the next part that what we want to play with is when we level up. So when we level up, that happens on base pickup. Base pickup adds XP. Adds XP, it goes here. It checks to see the level sequence, right, and all that kind of stuff. When I level up, right, it calls the character level on rep notify character level. Character level calls this to level up, and this is what happens. This is what goes on the player state when I'm doing things the right way, like I'm actually updating my XP. But this comes from my base pickup. Base pickup is the thing that it does the pickup thing all together, and then we're notifying that the player state has changed. We're actually changing the player state. That happens on the character, right? Because character is, we have on rep character stats. On rep character stats is when the character stats are changing right here, and then we set the current health percentage. Okay, so before we set the current health percentage, because this is what we want to do, right? Set current health percentage, gets the character stats and divides the current health divided by my character stats. And this is okay, that's correct. But what we want to do is get the current health percentage, right, before we level up. So back to this. So here is character stats. We get the character stats, and then we had whatever that percentage was, but we have that in current health percentage. It's actually a variable. This variable right here, right? And that hasn't changed. So I want to take this and I want to multiply it by my max health, which is in here. So here's max health. So I'm going to multiply it, max health, by current health percentage, right? And I want to take that and set the current health. So my current health, I want to do this. I want to set the current health to this, right? And then I'm going to update the current health percentage, set current health percentage, which is actually going to take my current health and recalculate. It's going to recalculate my new health percentage. That's what it's going to do, right? So this is definitely what I want to do before I do that. Does that make sense? Because I'm updating it and I want it to scale the same level that I've done when I've leveled up. So let's compile and save. And if I press play, then oh man, what the hell happened? How come I'm running at 0 now, right? Okay, well, let's see what happens. So I level up and I level up and I level up. Oh man, this is terrible. Now it's not showing my health bar at all. What did I do wrong? Nice idea, Tom. But max health, right, multiplied by current health percentage. Remember that on rep character stats changing, right, and current health percentage is 0 at the beginning, because that's how we set it. Current health percentage is 0. Oh man, this is one of these things happening. My current health percentage, it can't be 0 starting off, right? Because we got to set it to something, right? So why this is happening is because if you look at the event graph, what we're doing is this. We're saying update the current health percentage multicast, right? And we're doing that when we initially set something. Okay, but update current health percentage multicast is calling this function, which is setting the current health percentage. Setting the current health percentage is getting the current health and dividing it by the character stats. That's what it's doing, okay? And then we're calling current health percentage on rep notify, right? So we're saying, here's, do this, update the health bar. Health bar, is something that's going on there. But just letting you know, the on character stats is also being updated at the same time, right? Because what we're saying is that this is updating. Max health, right, is changed, and because max health is multiplying in the beginning by current health percentage, which is 0, right, then we're setting current health to 0. When current health is 0, then we update the percentage. 0 of whatever is just 0, and so our bar is red. It's not quite what I want. Help me out here. How do I fix it? kind of want to do this. I want to capture max health with current health percentage before I level up. Before I level up, right? I want to capture this. But I don't want to do it necessarily here, right? So this is, the idea is right. Execution is in the wrong spot, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because if I take this away, and if I press play, and now we're going to see that our health bar is back, right? It's not this, that's the problem. Because also we started off, one thing we also did is we started off cheat, bad thing to do, would be to start off with current health percentage, where we calculate current health percentage, you know, on our own. Well, we know that's 3 and maximum health is 10, so we're going to set it to 0.3, like right away. If we put this to 0.3, it'll work, but it'll be fake. It won't work properly, right? So, you know, that's something that we want to put in. So how do we change this? How do we make it so that it's what we want? And remember, what we're doing is we're leveling up. So it's add to the and this is back to the going back to the character state idea, right? So if I go back to here, character state, this is where we're adding XP, and we're calculating that we should level up right here. So character level is leveling up, and then we're saying character level set with notify, changing the character level, right? Because what's happening is we're saying that the character XP, when XP is greater than the current health stats, then what we're saying is let's add XP to the health stats. That's what's happening. Let's go back to that. I'll show you this one more time. So here's XP. We add a value to it. We set XP with notify, and then we update the stats. That's what we're doing, right? When we update the stats, when we do this, there's going to be a place where we look up. We do a lookup, okay? So set XP with notify, that's happening here. Add XP, right? If I go to on rep XP, it's here. All this does on call on XP changed event, it's calling the user interface, this part, right? On XP changed event, it's doing this. All it's doing is updating the user interface. This has nothing to do. There's no data being held here on the user interface. This is nothing. There's nothing wrong with our user interface right now. Our MP overlay, we can just stop it. But there's some place where we're doing a lookup, my friends, and that's when we do on the character, right? When we do, if I go back to the event graph and go to event begin play, we have this update character stats. Update character stats does this. Here's update character stats. It says, okay, character data table. Let's look up our the character data table name, and then character level at -1, whatever the new character level is. We've updated it. Whatever the new character level is, -1, right? Because character level is incoming from update character stats. That's the function that's being called. And then I look up the names, and once I do that, I set the character stats with notify. Set the character stats with notify goes back to this. Here's character stats with notify. And what we're doing is what we did before, set the current health percentage. So that's when it happens. The character stats are being updated here. Okay, here's what's happening. So this might be a good place to do it, right? Where we're saying, hey, character stats have just been updated. Level has gone up, and when my level goes up, now we're notifying that character stats have updated. So before we call set character stats with notify, then what we want to do is we want to grab this stuff. This is the place. If we're going to do it anywhere, it's going to be right here, right? Because character stats have updated, and then we want to take the current health percentage and whatever. We're going to have the same problem, especially in the beginning, right? Because the percentage is 0 coming up, right? And because my percentage is 0, then this is the problem. Do you see that? Unless we go back to the event graph, right? And we update the health percentage multicast before we update the character stats for the first time, right? So we do the multicast, the health percentage first, right? Then update the character stats with level 1. then that would call this again and then update the health bar. So actually, if we took this part right here out, right, and we did that right here, let's see what happens if we put the update character stats at the end. Okay, so compile and save, and then if we did that, any difference? And the answer is so far no. Okay, and now if that's the case, if we update the character stats second, then that means that the percentage is set ahead of time before we do the first update. So if I go back to this kind of idea here, now if I go back to the update percent multicast, and this is where we did the that max health stuff, right? And when we added health, which was here, right, set the current health percentage, and if I was to put that stuff back, if I took the max health, right, as an example, and I multiplied it by, you know, take my, set my percent to this, right, my max health, and then I took my, you know, my current health divided by it and set my percentage to that, and then updated it, right, then that would be better, right, because my max health changed, right, and then I take my current health. Here's my current health. Do this again. And we can say that if my current health divides by max health, divide, or that's another way of getting the percentage. We can say my current health divided by max health, right, is thing. But I want my current health to be the new thing. That's what I want my current health to be set, not met. So I want to multiply. Sorry, I did it right the first time. I want to multiply this by my current health percentage. There we go. And my current health percentage would have been pre-calculated right here, right, at the beginning. My first percentage is calculated right here. Here's where it calculates for the first time, right? So if that's the case, then this is okay, and then we can set health. So set current health. And then we're going to set the current health percentage again. Let's see if this is better, and then we'll take a short break. Again, it's just like, you know, it's one of those things where it's pretty crazy. Okay, so now, right now we have 100%. Okay, because we said our current health is, you know, our current health point was 0 at the beginning, and then we did was, right? So we're getting right into the other error. So first we were 0, now we're 100, right? Well, let me see why. Well, my max health was 10 multiplied by my current health percentage. My current health percentage, which was calculated before, right? So if I go back to my event, this thing here runs this set current health percentage, takes the current health and divides it by my max health, right? Max health right now from my character stats haven't changed, right? So what is my max health first? What is it? You know, by default, if I look at my max health on the character stats, I know I'm going around in circles, but this is what I'm trying to show you guys, and you're not stopping me, so I'm gonna keep doing this. Hopefully you'll get it. So here it is. Here's my current health. Well, we set the data table so that 0 is 10, right? And but what we also said was that our initial health, right, which is our character stats, if I look at my character stats, my max health is 3. That's what we set. We set our max health by default to 3. And because our current health is 3, current health divided by max health, right, is 100%. And because it's 100%, then when we said that, it calculated correctly. It's 100%. If we want to make this like it would be, then we should change this number so that it's going to reflect what it's supposed to be, which is 10. If I made this to 10, right, compile and save, you got to do it somewhere, as these are initial values, and then I have this finally. Okay, there we go. And then what we want is, if I go ahead and march and pick up stuff, then notice that my health bar never changes because my friends, we're not going to lose health. Our max health just gone up, but our percentage health has changed to what it's supposed to be. And this is a great place to stop before we add in an interactable like a health potion, because until we got this correct, you know, it was never going to show up properly. Does that make sense? My brain's exploded too. And I'm telling you this is the way it is because troubleshooting with multiplayer is challenging. I'll put this back to owner only because that wasn't the issue. I was going to show you this. You know, this is also owner only. That doesn't change. Again, to show you this, if we press play, you can see that this is not going to change anything, right? I can pick up as much of this as I want now, and it's not going to change what I'm interacting with. It's going to look at the same health bar, and same thing goes here. If I was to go through and look at the health bar, oh man, what the hell? Why did it do this now? Why did it do this? Well, this is another effect, a side effect. Let's change that back to none and change this back to none. Rep notify, compile and save. We fix one thing, but then here's the health, but then we broke something else before, and that is the way it should be. So take off those owner only, because when you put owner only, which is what we had before, that broke everything. Let's take a short break. It's 4:58. We have an hour left, and what I want to do with it is make our interactable. It's not that many slides left, believe it or not, but I wanted to go through this problem with you because and it looks long, but actually it's not that long. It's just making our interactable. So if you want to, if you've done it already in your head, that's great. If you haven't, we're going to do it together. But I want to show you this first problem that I detected. So here I'm going to put it up on DevOps, git add dot, git commit -m, and we'll say fixed bug with you know, health percentage. Okay, I'll stop recording now, and when I come back, we'll do the next part. 10 minutes max.